Hi everybody, this is an intro to derivatives. Sweet and simple of it, if you're ever asked to figure out how fast something is changing, a function specifically, the easiest way to figure that out would be to find the slope of the tangent line. If you only have one point to work with, and you're given a function, you can find the slope of a tangent line by using limit formulas. As far as notation goes, you can write a derivative in many ways. The most common ways that you'll see it written will be with the d over dx, which stands for the derivative with respect to x of a function, or f prime, you see that's the little apostrophe symbol, okay? That's f prime of x. If you had to find the slope of a tangent line of the function x to the 1/2 power at x is 25, you could do that in many ways. The long way would be to use limits, okay? You'll take the limit and you'll use the distance formula, you plug them in, then you plug in the actual equation, then you're going to rationalize and simplify with a lot of canceling because you've got multiple situations that match up and cancel out. You end up with 1 over the square root of x plus a plus the square root of x. When you add in that limit, as a approaches 0, you end up with 1 over 2 square root of x. There's a shortcut, okay? The shortcut is the power rule. For the power rule, what you're doing there is you're taking f of x of, if you know that f of x is some power, all right, then all you got to do is take that power, that n, okay, and multiply it by your x value, and turn the n power, subtract 1 from it. Okay, you can write that as f prime of x, or the d over dx with the x to the n. Either way, the math comes out as so. Say you have d over dx of x to the 1/2 power is going to equal out to be 1 over 2 square root of x, which is the same value as what you had from the long way. Personally, I prefer my shortcuts. Next up, the constant rule. So if you know that the f of x is some constant, some value, then the derivative of the f of x is always going to be 0. The derivative of any constant will be 0. Hint, hint, put this in your notes. As far as the constant coefficient rule goes, basically what that says is if you have a function with a constant, you can pull that constant out and then multiply it, and it will still end up with the same value, okay? So if you have to find the derivative with respect to x of 5x to the 4th power, you would have to take that 5, multiply it by the derivative of the x to the 4th, so that would be 4x to the x minus 1, so that would be 3. So that's going to equal out to be 20x to the 3rd. Now, for the addition and subtraction rule, say you have some function f of x, and some function g of x, and you need to get the derivative of their sum or their difference, okay? All you're going to do is you're going to find the derivative of f of x, and then find the derivative of g of x, and add them or subtract them together as required. So, if you have x to the 4th plus 3x squared, you'd get the derivatives of each of those functions. You'd separate them out as if they were two functions, so that would be 4x to the 3rd plus, because it tells me to add, the 3x squared becomes 3 times 2, that's 6x, and then 2 minus 1, well, that's 1. So we have 4x to the 3rd plus 6x. If, on the other hand, instead of addition, you have subtraction, again, you find the derivative of each, so that would be 4x to the third, and instead of plus we have minus, and then 6x. Sweet, simple, nothing extra crazy. As far as trig rules go, if you know 2 basic trig rules, you can figure out the rest of them as needed. Okay? So, the derivative of sine of x is going to equal out to be cosine of x. The derivative of cosine of x is negative sine of x. We'll be working more with these in class. Remember, you can do this.